Welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
Nail biter, getting the stream going today. But we're on the internet, presumably.
Yeah, so episode 38. Welcome to
Yes.
the jungle.
Yeah. Lot we got right.
Yeah.
Where we were close to being able to speculate effectively. We did see the classic UNT lizard folk competition.
Yep.
We saw the temple.
Yeah.
Didn't get close enough or far enough along in the story to discover any further information about the Leviathan to prove or disprove any of our prior speculation.
I'm sticking with mine. I'm sticking with opposite sides of the same coin. The Kraken and Leviathan. I think it's sound.
Yeah. Trying to think. There's a lot to discuss in how Matt structured the adventure.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time we want to spend on that. But that's where a lot of my thoughts are on this episode.
Okay, well, why don't you walk us through your thoughts and I'll chime in when I have something to say.
Okay.
On that.
So, we have, in the beginning, the first thing that happens is the first marker is a shack.
Correct.
A shanty. And they decide to investigate it.
Yes. Not in Caduceus.
Probably one of the oddest of odd couples. I also, so we always joke about the dice no.
Yes.
And not continues to be a case where the dice know she is no good at finding traps.
Yes.
So she hasn't succeeded. Well, I can't say she hasn't succeeded on a single one because that's not true. That's an exaggeration. But almost none of her checks to find traps succeed.
I did like how this one went out though. With it just being
dead snakes.
Yeah.
I like that too. And that's also, that feeds into why I wanted to talk about how Matt structured the adventure this episode. Because that shack says a lot about what's happening on the island.
Okay.
It says, one, there are survivors who come ashore and survive.
For a while.
The tales that we were hearing from Matt seem to indicate you go ashore, you die. Where this shack gives us evidence that somebody was shipwrecked. Built that shack. Presumably close to the lizard folk, because it's the first one. And we were told that the lizard folk exist on the outside and the UNT on the inside.
Okay.
However, this shack in lizard folk territory with navigator's tools, a shipwrecked person, had the UNT deity statue and the 3 rubies.
Yeah.
So I like how Matt did that just for the expositional value of that existing.
Now, with its age, do you think it was another chosen one? Maybe?
My first inclination is to say no. Because if a chosen one had gotten that close enough that they got an idol, why didn't they get all the way?
Because they weren't a player character in the narrative.
Fair. And the other, and getting back to that also, the trap that was set would have been a fun trap, even if the snakes were alive.
Right.
That's an interesting. Like, instead of a trap just doing damage, it drops an encounter on you.
Yeah.
Because that would be a swarm of poisonous snakes.
Yeah.
Which is a CR1, I think, encounter. Not something that Not and Caduceus couldn't have taken out without issue.
Right.
But just something to. But it was fun that they're all dead.
Yeah. Well, that is a time that tells time.
Yeah. Not kept the magnifying glass.
Yep.
That's gonna
the
come.
Whole private eye motif.
You know, I didn't even think of that. I'm sad to say I didn't even think of that. I was going on. It's a useful tool to have later.
Oh, it definitely is.
But I hadn't even thought. Yeah, private eye.
She's not the best detective, so
I'm so disappointed in myself.
That's why you bring me on the show with you.
That's true. So the next thing that Matt does in the structuring of this episode and the encounters in it,
right,
happens right after the shed as well.
Okay.
Which is
the hunt,
the insects.
Oh yeah, the insects. Okay.
Which gives the way he described it gave Taliesin just enough to make him suspicious. So he casts Gravesight and discovers that
Jamedi.
I almost said Jumanji. Jamedi is undead, which gets us to
faint undead aura.
Yes, those are the exact words that Matt used. Which brings us to our first speculation that we can talk about.
Right. And
what is it?
And I talked to you about this while we were getting dinner, and I had two. One of them lines up with your one, and that's the one. Like I said, I'm 70-30. So I'll do the 30% first, and that is an Undying Patron Warlock, because the class features build you up to be a pseudo undead, basically.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, well, do I have that in the? Has Dan thought about that? I'm going to ask him about that, because I have multi-classed into the Undying Patron.
Yeah, and like I said to you, the way that I adjudicate stuff like that is when a warlock uses their invocation is the only time, really, that anything like that, like if a paladin's using Divine Sense.
So what about like I was saying, the 6th level, they gain the mastery over life and death to be able to heal themselves at, not at will, but once per rest.
Yeah.
And then at 10th level, they're so close to undeath that they no longer eat, sleep, drink, or breathe. They still need the 8-hour short rest, but they can spend the whole time doing light activity. That's a constant effect. So would a warlock at 10th level with that automatically trigger that faint?
A faint aura, yeah, maybe.
So, and that's where I was going. Maybe just a higher level where that is, or maybe Matt just adjudicated it differently.
Yeah, and my go-to right away, first thing, was Revenant,
which was also, was my theory as well.
Yeah. I don't. So there's more evidence for Revenant in the later scene.
Yeah.
When he's talking with Jester. And Jester basically asked him, what's the craziest shit you've ever done?
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about being the sole survivor coming out of a mine in the north.
Yeah. Was he? Did he survive?
Oh, he's walking.
There's a fine line there.
That's true. And it's interesting to think that, well, because there's two possibilities of why he's involved in this whole thing.
Okay.
One, he's doing this to further his ends to complete his quest that he is brought back for, if he's a Revenant. The other is he has largely abandoned that quest.
Yeah.
That he thinks it's too insurmountable, and so he's been.
It was brought back for it. He's afraid of it, and he's running from it. So he's picking up whatever job he can to not be there.
Yeah. And again,
now, does that become a side story, a side plot that they follow then, and help him?
If Ashley was at the table, yes. Ashley being absent, I think it's less likely. Because he's essentially from Jorhas or has some experience with being up there.
Right.
That hooks her into it.
And the one thing that, and it's not a strong argument by any sense, but the one argument against Revenant is they asked something about his race, and he said, he's human. And Revenants tend to not look completely human. They tend to look like their species, but not quite. And for him to
they
not feel
interrupted
like there's something
him
a little bit off
when he was giving details about Jametti. But I think the way Matt described him, it could be interpreted that he has no body.
Okay.
So I don't know, but
right. Like I said, it's not
something
a strong
like that can
argument,
also be a warlock.
Yeah.
Weird oddity thing. So yeah. Too early to say, but too early to say for definitive.
But I'm also definitely leaning to the Revenant.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it's an interesting narrative beat for Matt to compare this guy with Vax'ildan.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting narrative juice there, I think, that he can play with.
Yeah.
That again, I don't think we'll see unless Ashley's at the table.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they got super uncomfortable, especially near the end of this episode, with Jaegering Yasha.
Yeah.
And the fact that she is there, where before in the story she's gone away, leads heavy credence to the fact that this adventure, this arc, is supposed to be our initial introduction to the overarching plot of healing the land, and defeating the Tarrasque. So and Matt can't really talk for both of them, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, he could, but it would be inauthentic.
Yeah, definitely.
He's too omniscient of the two views. I don't think it would be possible for him to separate the two.
It would be hard.
Yeah. But we got the exploration via Jester, and again, Jester comes to the defense of the odd,
Mm-hmm.
of the
Live and let live.
yeah.
We're just gonna quote other Guns N' Roses songs. So.
Yeah. As soon as he said that, I was like, well, that's going to be the name of the episode.
Yeah.
And it was. So. Yeah. But yes, and then the next thing after the insects
Mm-hmm.
and the discovery that, oh, he's undead, was the ambush of the lizard
hunt.
folk. And I am sad that they didn't come to the aid of the lizard folk.
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity.
I'm not really I'm not disappointed, nor am I surprised that they didn't.
Right.
And it was hard to tell for me what Ford Travis wanted to do. Because I think Travis was super excited that they're witnessing this combat between these two forces. But, like, to me, and this gets back to our seemingly constant debate of whether or not Ford is actually lawful good or not, stepping in to save them. Ford has said in dialogue before that he doesn't like when other people are put in chains, abused.
Yeah.
And they all sat there and watched it happen.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if anything comes from that. And I don't think Matt set that encounter up as a fight for them.
Correct.
I think he set it up as showing the microcosm of what's going, the ecology of the island.
Yeah, the ecology, the politics of the island.
Yeah. I think he was ready.
Showing that the lizard folk are prey. It's not two societies. They're pretty much, because,
yeah.
I mean, I know you said ambush, but it really seemed, and he even used the word hunting party.
Yeah.
For the UNT. Like, they hunt the lizard folk.
Yeah. Although, sort of the whole in everything is the lizard folk might not be going into the jungle that much.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're great swimmers.
Yeah.
And reefs are plentiful of life.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, the notion that they would have to go inland to get food struck me as odd.
Well,
although you could argue that they didn't seem to be armed as a hunting party.
With the lizard folk?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That they were defensive incursion, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, and also that the attack came from behind them was odd. Like they saw them basically walk past those bushes, and then the attack came.
No, I mean, when you hunt something, it's walking. If you're like in a tree stand and it's walking past,
yeah,
you wait till it's not looking at you, your direction. I mean, I've never hunted, so I don't, I'm not an expert on that.
Yeah, and they don't. It's not like they have advantage on sensory tests or anything. But
correct.
Yeah, I was just kind of surprised that the attack came from behind. But Matt got to display all of the sort of essential, both UNT and lizard folk.
Yeah.
Behaviors and stuff. The lizard folk cobbling together their arms and armor.
Yep.
The Yuan-Ti, the purebloods, looking basically human. And then the aberrations, the first being snaky hands.
Yeah. 5-foot pythons for snakes, for hands.
Yeah. Which, if memory serves, are one of the weaker of the abominations.
Yeah.
I don't think Matt described any lizard lower half and human upper half.
No.
Which are type 2 or 3, I think. I can't remember now. But all we got basically was snake hands, snake head, and the.
There was one that had the snake tail, or two.
Well, and the snake head.
Yeah.
And I think they're listed as a. I can't remember the actual monster title now. But they're the most powerful.
Yeah.
CR6, I think.
Right.
And Matt actually structured they ran into one of those when they did run into one.
Yeah.
And they got out of that cleverly. But we had a comedy of errors, but also not, with them setting up camp.
Yeah. It went better than the taking of the pirate ship.
Yeah, that's true. Have you ever seen stats for that Panther?
Yeah, it's the Commandant out of Tomb of Horrors, or Tomb of Annihilation.
Okay. Which is why I have not seen it.
The one when Natalie was up and I was running you guys, you fought one of those. Yeah, that's the Commandant from the Tomb of Annihilation.
Okay.
That was one of the first things you guys fought after you left town.
Yeah. I don't have Tomb of Annihilation, so I've never actually read the stat block.
Yeah.
So, alright, cool. Those are what, CR3?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Both the clerics going out. I don't know if I want to call Jester and Caduceus an odd couple, because in some ways, arguably they are, but in others they're sort of a natural pairing.
Yeah,
because they're both the clerics, but they're definitely clerics of a different type to each other.
Definitely,
and not just the domains.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
We got to see Caduceus, some more of Caduceus' spells. See Vampire Touch.
Vampire Touch.
Which
I really liked that. Yeah, that's a domain spell for him, and just the way he described that, I really liked that.
Yeah, I did too. I think they're doing much better this campaign in personalizing the magic.
Yeah.
And narrating their own magic better.
Yeah.
Because that's something that not a lot of players do.
Yeah, that's true.
They just have the power. I'm going to
starting to try to do that in our game.
So I'm a little surprised that he didn't cast it at a higher level.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure you can in each level above, second or third? Because I don't remember what level that is.
Yeah.
You get an extra D6. Right. And when you want to kill the thing hitting you and heal as much as possible, I'm surprised he didn't upcast it.
Especially right before rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did say he was panicking.
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't do that. I did like the notion that he was casting light on objects.
Yeah.
Although I think from a strict reading of the spell, that's not the way that works.
Okay.
You have to cast it on something, or well,
Yeah, I believe it is a touch range.
yeah.
But yeah.
There's not much difference in him casting it on the outline of a tree, of a branch, or picking up a rock, casting on a rock, and throwing it into the darkness.
Magic is in the darkness.
Matt was doing everything he could to keep them nervous too.
Yeah.
And from make a Constitution saving throw. What? Why? Just making.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about that for a minute because we had one failure.
Yeah.
And the next day she's feeling a little pale, a little sweaty. And go ahead.
I like the whole interaction of that because Matt's like, speaking of which, Bo, you feel achy, weak. She's like, no, I don't. Which is totally a role-playing moment of how Bo would handle being sick.
Yeah.
I'm going to deny it's happening.
Yeah.
And will myself through it.
So, lesser restoration did not heal that disease.
Correct. You need cure disease to cure disease.
Lesser restoration cures one disease. In 5th edition.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
I'm almost positive it's not. And my books are in the car.
Well,
on the door. Techie help is gonna go grab the book. But yeah, I'm almost positive it does not cure disease. Poisoned.
And I'm almost positive it says it will remove one.
It will. I think it removes curse. But anyway, go on with what you were saying.
I believe in the diseases. It says that certain diseases or like epidemics, lesser restoration may not be able to counter completely. But I'm pretty sure it talks about, lesser restoration. We'll get to that in a moment. So I was wondering if you had a speculation as to what that disease was.
I don't.
I should have brought Tomb of Annihilation because that's got a list of tropical diseases in it and what their effects are.
Because my experience is only in the DMG, which there's 3, I think.
Can I see that too?
So I don't. My thing, I figured it was something that he developed. Because with a 22 medicine, he should have known what the disease was called.
Yeah. You touch a creature and can end either one disease or one condition affecting it. The condition can be blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned. Which, interestingly enough, does not include exhausted.
That's true. You need greater restoration for that.
Yeah. So let me look up diseases real quick.
See, I just thought it was something that Matt made up, and he was doing it to make the Yuan-Ti more dangerous. Yeah, because so many of their attacks, the secondary, is con save based.
Right.
And to give one or more of the party disadvantage on those is gonna potentially be deadly.
Yes, definitely.
So that's what I'm afraid of for this week. Is seeing if Bo can not get poisoned. And I don't think it's going to be possible because, as she said, she has nothing for range and needs to be up close.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Well, I'm also a little worried about what the secondary effects are because I was trying to run through permutations on that, and loss of hit dice.
Yeah.
Or the second day, lose half your hit point.
Yeah.
Your maximum is also lowered by that amount. Third day, lose half again.
That seems a little extreme.
Depends on how deadly this disease is supposed to be.
That's true.
Unless it is a curse and not a disease. Although Matt did say your disease.
See, I could see him. She's got disadvantage on con saves. Well, now you got to start making exhaustion checks every day, even if you get a full 8 hours. Stacking those levels of exhaustion. That'd still be pretty damn deadly. You could die within a week.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Yeah, I can see that. And wouldn't necessarily diminish her combat effectiveness because her hit points wouldn't be going down. I can see that. So yeah, that's what my major concern going into this week's battle.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that real quick. We have 3 things: humanoid bodies, grayscaled, hooded cobra. Tim asked what we thought it was at dinner. Mind Whisperer.
Yeah.
I mean, the picture looks exactly like he described. Went through this stuff. That's going to be pretty deadly, especially with that, twice a day. I'm just going to add, a bunch of psychic damage to this. In addition to, you have to make the con save because I'm poisoning you.
Does Matt go after, or does that guy go after the Raging Barbarian to use that ability?
Yes.
I agree. We have 3 creatures there and 9 people in the party. Yeah. There's going to be a layer action. I don't know what it's going to be. If I had to guess, it's going to be the layer spawns a creature. Spawns a swarm of snakes. Yeah. Spawns insects, swarm of insects, or it's either going to be something that spawns, or there's going to be a poison gas released, and everyone's going to have to make Constitution saving throws.
They're immune to the poison in poison conditions.
Yeah. Do we think any of the Yuan-Ti that were running up the side of the pyramid, not really pyramid, the temple, come downstairs? Do you think they end up fighting on 2 fronts?
I think that will be a call midway. If it seems to be too easy, yes.
Okay.
If they're having trouble, no. And I mentioned before, it's really easy for Matt to write it off as, oh, they went down there, they'll be taken care of.
Yeah. Or
so if it's a challenging encounter, if they end up bad dice rolls, good dice rolls, whatever. We are mopping the floor with these guys. This is not even breaking a sweat. Yeah, something will come up. That's how I would structure it.
Well, that makes sense. And I tend to agree. And depending on what's responding, the UNT are very caste based.
Yeah.
So only certain members are going to be allowed in the Holy of Holy.
Right. There won't be purebreds.
Yeah. How far down do you think it goes? Because that's the other thing that I kept thinking is this is only room 1.
Yeah. No, it definitely goes deeper. Well, they bypass some rooms because the stair trap. I think.
No, it was only like 10 or 15 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
like, it wasn't enough that they were going to be taking falling damage or anything, because that's what Ford was concerned with.
right. Well, I didn't see why it would, because it turned into a slide and they just slid down, not necessarily falling straight. Go down a pretty far slide without taking any falling damage.
True.
Provided there's, water on said slide so you don't get friction burns.
Which brings us to a potential retcon.
Okay.
Is Matt makes them all make dexterity saving throws to see who starts prone and who starts on their feet. Or do you think he just says, you're all prone, or you're all on your feet?
I think he lets them stay all on their feet.
You're very kind.
I said I think he lets them stay home. I didn't say that's what I would do as a DM.
True.
And I know for sure that's not what you would do.
That's very true. No, it would be, I would probably do a dexterity saving throw. You succeed, you on your feet.
You would probably tell everyone they were prone, and if someone argued it, let them make a dex saving throw. I could see you starting out with the position that you're just all prone. Well, wouldn't I? Okay, well, you can make a dex save.
Yeah, maybe. It would depend, because on one hand, if these are all spellcastery types, them being prone helps them.
Until they close the distance.
Well, if they're spellcasting types, they're going to be, it's ranged attacks for the most part.
Right.
Those are disadvantaged if your target's prone. That's why I say it can help them if they end up prone.
Right, but I don't know, because those things, they have ranged spell abilities, but they're also up close fighters with that bite.
That's true too.
And they are intelligent. If I see my prey on the ground.
Matt did not give the dimensions of the room.
He did not.
It's 15 feet down. Presumably the maximum area internally is going to be 25 feet on a side.
Which means they're within move distance.
Oh, easily, for sure.
Yeah.
But also, there's 9 of them, 3 of the bad guys. That's, a 5x5 space, 25 squares.
And 12 of them are already filled.
Yeah. That's a tight squeeze. That means Caleb's not using Fireball.
Or is he?
Thus far, Caleb has not shown the fuck it, I'll nuke my friends mentality.
Yes, but he's never been in this type of a position.
True.
And they all have been taking darker turns with their characters.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've seen Caleb use Burning Hands.
No. If we have
Scorching Ray, Fireball, Firebolt. But I don't think we've seen Burning Hand. Kind of him. What if that's one that he prepared today? Because Burning Hands would be pretty good.
Yeah.
For an AoE.
Yeah.
Try to keep my friends out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, knock on wood, Caleb's got that prepared. We know he has Enlarge and Shrink because he was going to use it on the dead body.
Correct.
Which is a really good idea.
Yeah, I loved that.
Kudos to Liam for that. My guess is he has Earthen Grasp.
Okay,
prepared.
Yeah.
He probably has Slow. Well, he had Slow before the long rest. Because it was after the long rest that he was, when he was busy in the book, and he's like,
right.
I was looking at spells. He was preparing his list, and he didn't prepare Disguise Self. Because he's like, I thought we were going to be fighting lizard people. So, he probably has Slow, because it's been a huge
possibly
lifesaver.
Haste as well.
Yes.
I can see him having haste because he got that taste of that uber speed, and if he decides he needs to cut and run,
yeah, I think
a worst case scenario.
I think Expeditious Retreat is now going to be on his regular list of prepared spells, and Caleb can prepare 11 spells.
Yeah.
So, I think he's dropped everything that can be cast as a ritual. So,
yes,
like he had Detect Magic and probably Identify prepared, is my guess. Because he did it, I think he did them both using a spell slot rather than a ritual.
Right.
In the episode. I don't think either one of those prepared today.
No.
So, I'm trying to think what other spells that Caleb has used.
We know he has Mage Armor.
Yes. And he cast it just before going in.
Yep.
So, but that's not going to be one he's going to cast again.
Correct.
So,
but that does limit the number of possibilities.
True. Yes. So yeah, I think
we know Not has Tasha's Hideous Laughter prepared.
Well, knows because they know spells.
Okay. They just know them.
Yeah.
The Arcane Trickster.
Okay.
I think because it's intelligence based, I was just assuming they prepared.
Yeah. They're just like the Eldritch Knight. They know a certain number that have to be of a certain percentage have to be of a certain school.
I've never played either of those archetypes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think there is more to the temple. If not, then the story's going to be they fight the Yuan-Ti.
Mm-hmm.
The captain either gets what she wants, or whatever she wants cannot be gotten here.
Okay.
60% chance they fight her there.
Okay.
Depending on how wounded they are and how wounded
if they
she
don't
is.
fight her there, wild speculation, it will be a later fight, and she is going to give Ford the mistake, and he's going to sail under her banner with his crew. They're either going to completely split ways with a fight, or they're going to have to partner with her for a while.
Yeah, probably. I don't think there's any way, from her perspective, that it's got to be the only two ways it's going.
Yeah, that's the only two ways.
And
if they don't fight, they sail under her banner.
I think she's probably going to try to kill him though, because she was there when they were talking about killing her.
I think that's true, and I think that she's going to try and kill Ford anyway. Got the other orb. She's going to try and use him as the sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's why she's all cozying up to him.
Yeah, I buy that.
And again, another reason why I think they're opposite sides of the same coin, warlocks.
If Jamadi is a revenant, he has turn resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Or immunity. I can't remember which.
Resistance.
Okay.
Because in Tim's game, where Alex was a revenant, there was a turn that happened, and he had to leave because he failed. He had advantage, but he failed.
So that's not necessarily get out of jail free for them.
Correct.
But it also, like, that confrontation will be interesting, and I think Jester messing with him puts him on more towards the captain's side than theirs.
Yeah.
So where his loyalties fall in that fight, I think, are going to be important. When the question of who's going to sacrifice for the Leviathan for Ukatoa. I'm still holding out hope that we will find evidence of Kuatoa, be it like carvings that are here in this temple, or if it does indeed go further down, that we'll see that. I just think it's way too much of a coincidence that the name of Ukatoa is Ukatoa, and not have Kuatoa involved in some way.
Well, and you know, this campaign, Matt has like using a lot of older classic baddies.
Yeah.
You know, the rugged smothering, the gnolls, the Kuatoa.
Yeah.
Right in with that.
Yeah.
So it would not surprise me in the least to see that.
Yeah, and it fits in with the first time that they found the orb, that it was Marrow.
Mm-hmm.
Merfolk, basically. Yeah. Where the lizard folk and Yuan Ti straddle that line between land and water.
Yeah.
They're comfortable enough in water, but...
Well, again, I think the Yuan Ti are there. They've mentioned...
For the cloaked serpent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he is the creator of all serpent kind.
Right. Also, shout out to Matt for his version of Draconic.
Yeah.
And the lizard folk talking.
Yeah.
I've done similar stuff, but never that good.
Yeah.
Usually it's rare in a PC group where you're running into things that speak Draconic and at least one person doesn't speak it.
Yeah.
So there's no need to do the native tongue aspect where he's using some of the native language outside of the player. No. They wouldn't know. They just hear this stuff going on.
This is what they hear.
Yeah. Caleb had comprehend languages, so that's another one that he has prepared.
Yep.
And
which is a ritual.
It is. He overheard, but he was able to understand them. I also kind of liked Matt's version of Abyssal, although I think he tended a little more toward the serpenty side, but it makes sense as the Yuan-Ti.
Right.
Where my version of Abyssal, when I try to do it, tends to be more of a hissing.
Mm-hmm.
Snake hissing, different kind of hissing, but yeah. I did like that native aspect that he was putting on it. More disguise kit shenanigans.
Yeah.
And all of them on that side of the table seemed like Thursday night we're having a hard time rolling anything over a 10.
Yeah.
If it hadn't been for Pass Out a Trace, they would have been in serious trouble.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, so we're going to see a fight with the Mind Whisperers. I'm just going to call it.
You think they're all three now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The way it was described, it made it like all of them.
Only one was black.
Only one turned around, and they could see his face.
Okay.
So, I think it's 3 Mind Whisperers.
Okay. Which would make it easy encounter.
3 CR4s.
Yeah. For 9.
That's true.
Level 6 PCs. Yeah, they would walk through that. That's why I don't think the other two.
They could be.
Or that there's a surprise in there that is going to be happening. Yeah. Or the layer actions are so bad.
Yeah.
That it's going to kick that danger level way up. And so if it is just initiative count 20, everyone's rolling Constitution saving throws, and you're taking 4d6 of poison damage.
Yeah.
Every turn. That makes it super dangerous.
Yeah. Or even 2d6 and you have the poison conditions. Now all your attacks are at disadvantage.
Yeah. Yeah. That too.
Everything you do is at disadvantage, and you're going up against 3 of those Mind Whisperers.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is good that Jester and Caduceus both prepared Lesser Restoration to get rid of the poison condition.
I don't remember if the Revenant is, but if he's the Undying Warlock, he has advantage against disease.
Yeah.
So.
I think Revenants are immune to poison.
Okay. Which, if he's a Revenant...
Or advantage or immune.
I mean, if he is, that explains why he was able to get through that. Or, he may not have avoided traps. He was poisoned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the 2 ways with Ivanica, we will see, I believe we'll see her try to sacrifice Ford. We'll find out where Jametti's loyalties lie and possibly what type he is.
Yeah, and I think, God, I really hope Ashley's going to be there in some capacity, but I doubt it's going to happen. But because we really need to have Yasha and Jametti have it out with Caduceus there, and
I want to know what that whisper to Caduceus at the end was.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to know what that whisper was.
I really wish we could.
And I think part of it is going to be down to where Jametti's loyalties lie.
Yeah.
And I think he was waiting for them to get there. Because I think I think he's in a similar situation to them, but she has something over him.
Could his goal be to thwart her? Why he was brought back? Maybe not her specifically, but the bringing back of this.
Yeah. Yeah, and
which
that
would totally shift his allegiance.
Yes and no. Well, yeah. See, if he is here to stop the Chained Oblivion from coming back,
I'm just talking about Ukatoa.
or yeah, because of his connection to the North, his involvement has to be bigger than that.
Okay.
His reason for coming back has to be final arc stuff. I think Matt was going to introduce him as our point of exposition to begin to understand the poisoning of the world.
Okay.
Whether or not he knew that this led into that or not, we can only find that out in RP.
Right.
But I do think Jamedi and what was going to be happening in the temple is laying the groundwork for curing the land.
Okay.
So that's where I think this is going to go. Depending on how the encounter goes and how hard it is to escape. Because on one hand, it could very well be an easy encounter. It could just be 3 CR4s in that room.
Yeah.
They finish them off. They do the thing. Now there's a standoff between Ford and Avantika. They resolve that. Now they have to escape.
Yeah.
And they have to get to the mistake because it's beached
and take on
get
the
out.
ogre.
Take on the ogre and get out before anyone on the Squall Eater knows what's happened.
Yeah.
Or they go to the Squall Eater and wipe all them out, and now they have a ship with guns. Well, or they try to do that, and Caleb casts Fireball and blows the whole damn thing up.
That is more likely. That is far more likely. They know roughly where the black powder is. Yep. I could see them doing that. That's about all the time we've got.
Yep.
Let's hop over to Critical Role.
If Talks has any answers for us tonight. So we'll see if we get it, what that whisper was.
All right. See you guys.